On Sunday evening, as they unpacked souvenirs in Renate's kitchen, the doorbell rang, a strident buzz that shattered the idyll. The camera feed on Renate's phone showed Max, disheveled in a rumpled coat, his face gaunt under the porch light. Lena hovered behind him, arms crossed, her designer bag sagging like defeat. Diana peered over Renate's shoulder. "Speak of the devil. Want me to answer? I brought pepper spray." Renate's pulse thrummed, but the vault's weight in her satchel steadied her. "No, this is mine." She opened the door a crack, chain engaged, the night air carrying the chill of impending rain. "Max, Lena, what now?" Max's eyes, bloodshot and pleading, locked on hers. "Mom, please, we need to come in. It's pouring cats and dogs out here." Rain began to patter, as if on cue, slicking his hair to his forehead. "Speak from there," she said, voice even as polished stone. "I've nothing left to give." Lena stepped forward, her makeup smudged. The confident smile from the wedding photos cracked like cheap porcelain. "Renate, this has gone too far. The landlord's evicting us tomorrow. Max lost his job. Layoffs at the firm, and I'm pregnant." The word hung, a grenade with the pin half pulled. Pregnant. The revelation landed like a stone in still water. Ripples of shock, joy, betrayal. A grandchild, Heinrich's legacy extended. But Renate's mind raced to the math. Another mouth? More debts, the cycle spinning anew. Diana appeared at her elbow, a silent bulwark. Her presence a reminder that blood wasn't the only tie that bound. "Congratulations," Renate said finally, the word tasting of ash. "But that changes nothing. You've made your choices." Max's face crumpled. "Mom, it's your grandchild. Our family." "You can't just family?" Renate's laugh was sharp, a blade unsheathed. "You taught me what that means when you invited special people to your wedding. When you let a stranger pull my papers. When you treated my home like a debtor's prison." She paused, the letter burning in her pocket like a coal. "But perhaps it's time you learned what family meant to Dad." She unchained the door, stepping aside not in surrender, but strategy. They entered, dripping on the hall rug, Diana's glare a force field. In the living room, under the cuckoo clock's watchful gaze, Renate placed the envelope on the coffee table. "Read it. Both of you." Max frowned, unfolding the paper with hands that shook. Lena leaned in, her breath hitching as the words unfurled. The room fell silent, save for the clock's rhythmic tick. Each second a judgment. Max's color drained as he reached the vault's revelation. The trust. The conditions. Heinrich's unflinching assessment. He thought I'd do this. That I'd drain you." "Not thought," Renate said softly. "Knew. He loved you, Max, more than his own breath. But love isn't blind. He saw the boy who promised to fix the fence and left it leaning, who took the truck for a joyride and dented the fender without a word. Small things building to this." Lena's eyes narrowed. "This is emotional blackmail, a dead man's grudge," Diana snorted. "Blackmail? That's rich. Coming from the woman who played dress-up with Renate's savings." "Sit down, dearie. Storytime's just starting," Renate continued, her voice weaving the past like thread on a loom. She told of Heinrich's workshop, where father and son had spent Sundays elbow-deep in gears and grease. He'd say, "Max, a clock doesn't run on wishes. It runs on tension, springs wound tight, but released in time. You are his masterpiece. But he worried you'd wind yourself too loose, relying on others to keep you." Ticking, she gestured to the portfolio on the sideboard, its leather embossed with lilies. "This trust? It's not punishment. It's proof he believed in you, in us. But access comes with accountability. To claim it, you repay what you took. Not just dollars, Max. Trust." Max sank onto the sofa, the letter crumpling in his fist. Tears tracked his cheeks. Not the performative ones Renate had seen in court filings, but raw, wrenching. "I didn't see it. God, Mom, I was so wrapped up in in proving I was more than Dad's shadow. The job, the apartment, Lena's dreams. It snowballed. And the wedding, I wanted it perfect, intimate. But I let her convince me you wouldn't fit. Lena shifted. Uncomfortable. It was my idea. I thought pressure would make him grow up, force independence. Independence? Diana barked. You mean freeloading with a side of snub? Newsflash. Real growth doesn't come from excluding the woman who birthed you, the rain hammered now. A curtain sealing them in confession. Max looked up. Eyes searching Renate's for absolution she wasn't ready to grant. What do I do to fix this? Renate drew a breath, the vault's key cold against her thigh. You start with truth. Full financial disclosure. No hiding debts or half-lies. You get jobs. Real ones. Not gigs that vanish. Counseling, both of you. To unpack why love became ledger sheets. And the baby? I'll help, but on my terms. Doctor visits. Baby clothes from my choice of stores. Not financed by guilt, Lena's. Hand drifted to her belly, a gesture softening her edges. And the trust? For the child? If Max earns it, Renate said. Heinrich's legacy isn't a handout. It's a hand up for those who reach. Weeks blurred into a tentative thaw. Max moved into a cheap studio across town, Lena crashing with her parents until tempers cooled. He started at a hardware store, ironic, given. Heinrich's tools, stocking shelves with a humility Renate hadn't seen since his paper route days. Evenings he'd call, not for money, but stories. Tell me about Dad's first clock, the one that chimed offbeat. Renate obliged, her voice a bridge over the chasm. Diana chiming in via video from Chicago, her laughter a glue. Lena proved thornier. Her apologies came in texts, polite, parsed, but Renate sensed the calculation. One afternoon, as snow dusted the windows, November arriving like an uninvited guest, Lena appeared alone on the porch, a ultrasound photo in hand. A grainy peanut, heartbeat flickering like a promise. I get it now, she said, uninvited but unchaste. The special people line? It was armor. My folks fought like alley cats. Money was the only piece we knew. I thought excluding you would toughen Max. Stupid, I know. Renate studied her, seeing not the viper from the wedding, but a woman armored in her own scars. Stupid's forgivable. Cruelty's a choice. She poured tea, the steam curling like unspoken truces. But you're carrying my grandchild. That buys patience, not pardon. They talked then, haltingly, of Lena's fractured home, the siblings who'd toasted at the wedding while she stitched her own wounds. Renate shared Heinrich's letter, not as weapon, but witness. He built clocks to mark time, but he knew family isn't mechanical. It's messy, rewinding when it sticks. By Christmas, the house smelled of pine and gingerbread. Diana ensconced on the guest bed with a stack of mystery novels. Max arrived with a gift, a restored cuckoo clock, smaller than the heirloom, its birds painted in Renate's favorite azure. I fixed it myself, he said, hanging it beside its ancestor. Offbeat like Dad's first, but it works. The trust remained locked, a specter at the feast. Renate had invested a portion, $50,000, into Diana's latest venture, an art co-op for elder women. Canvases splashed with the fury of unlived lives. The rest accrued. A nest egg for the baby, perhaps. Or Renate's Rhine cruise come spring. Max didn't ask. He worked, double shifts, repaying $500 monthly into a restitution account. Mr. Weber monitored like a hawk. But legacies, like clocks, have hidden gears. In January, as ice glazed the streets, Max uncovered a second envelope, tucked in the workshop toolbox, missed in the initial purge. Heinrich's hand again. For my son, when the weights grow heavy. Remember, Max, time isn't money. It's the space between ticks where we choose mercy. The vault's key opens more than steel. It opens hearts. Earn yours. Love, Dad. He brought it to Renate's door, snowflakes melting on the paper. He believed in me, even then. They sat by the fire, the letter between them, and for the first time, Max spoke of his fears. The pressure to eclipse Heinrich's quiet genius. The terror of failure magnified by Lena's ambitions. I made you the villain to avoid being one. Healing isn't linear. It's a spiral, dipping into old wounds before ascending. Lena miscarried in February, a shadow that dimmed the house, but forged unlikely steel. She and Renate grieved together. Walks in the park where Max once swung high, now a sanctuary for shared silence. I named the nursery after you, Lena whispered one gray afternoon. Renate's room, for second chances. Spring unfurled green and forgiving, the trust balance swelling to $325,000 with market whispers. Renate booked the cruise, Danube to Black Sea, 10 days of horizons. But before sailing, she summoned Max to the bank. Mr. Klein waited, the vault aglow under fluorescent hum. Your father left conditions, she said, key in hand. Repayment complete. Counseling logs verified. And this? She handed him the second letter. He left you a share. $50,000, not for comfort, for construction. Build something, Max, a life, a bridge. He wept then, open and unashamed, as the drawer yielded its portion. I don't deserve, none of us do, Renate said. That's grace. The confrontation with legacy rippled outward. Max enrolled in night classes, horology, of all things, apprenticing under a master clockmaker who knew Heinrich's tales. Lena, softened by loss, started a blog. Unwedded Bliss. Essays on marriage's myths. Crediting Renate's ice water as the thaw, Diana's co-op thrived. Renate's abstracts, wrinkled. Faces in river blues, fetching. Prices that funded scholarships for single. Mothers on the cruise. Renate stood at the rail, wind whipping her scarf. Heinrich's lily key on a chain around her neck. The Danube flowed timeless, carrying echoes of betrayal and balm. She wrote letters, not hidden but sent. One to Max, charting his father's unsent dreams. One to Lena, forgiving the dress in the closet. One to herself, promising no more eggshells. Back home, summer's heat baked the wounds closed. Max proposed a family dinner, not at her table, but his, a tiny apartment paid with sweat. Clock gears scattered like confetti. The bird from the restored cuckoo heralded their arrival, offbeat and perfect. As they raised glasses, to Heinrich, to the vault, to the spaces between, Renate felt the spiral complete. Not an ending, but a new tick. Mercy chosen. Time reclaimed. In the years that followed, the trust dwindled not to depletion, but purpose. A down payment on Max's workshop. Seed money for Lena's book deal. A college fund for the child they welcomed in autumn. A girl named Alara. Star bright and unscarred. Renate watched her toddle amid clock chimes. Heinrich's lessons etched in every swing. Entitlement had been foreseen, confronted, transmuted. The vault, once shadow, now shone. A legacy not of gold, but gold-hearted resolve.